What are some secrets about widely used products? Palm oil is in everything. Look on the ingredient list of anything in your home. Seriously, food, cleaning supplies, etc. And you probably see a form of palm oil. Look for anything with the word palm, such as palmitate. Most people will say, so who cares? Palm oil is awfully unsustainable. Many palm oil companies employ the slash and burn method. Cut down and burn rainforest. Plant palm oil palms in its place. Lots of rainforest has been destroyed for your palm oil. Worse yet, there are rumors of black market bounties from those companies on endangered wildlife such as orangutans. Kill and remove the endangered species, so the governments will let you slash and burn. But things are looking up. More people are learning about palm oil issues, and pressure is being put on the companies. More and more manufacturers are starting to turn to sustainable palm oil practices. I did a research paper about this last year. Basically, countries like Indonesia allow the mass burning of their rainforests to happen for the industry because it is such a large portion of the country's income and job market. Luckily, this is becoming more of an issue for people, and many organizations are pushing sustainable palm oil. You only need one Alka-Seltzer. In the 60s, a marketing director told the company producing Alka-Seltzer that he could double their sales. He did this with the now iconic phrase plop plop, fizz fizz in a jingle. Till that time they had only recommended a dose of one, and this jingle was about rebranding it as a pack of 2. They did in fact nearly double in market size very shortly after releasing this jingle, mostly attributable to people now taking 2 at a time. It marks the beginning of larger serving sizes to increase sales. There's a guy in their board meetings biding his time to propose his revolutionary idea of plop 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 plop, fizz 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 fizz. I've got this crazy new idea to improve shaving razors, but I'm waiting for the right time. I'm a man, but I love using women's shampoo. The products available for ladies are vastly superior in every way. They leave my hair looking and feeling silky smooth, and I smell so good. A couple of people have asked me what I use to keep my hair looking so nice, and I just feel fabulous. I'm currently using Summer Passion by Herbal Essences, but I also have a channel one for special occasions. Because I'm worth it. The complete opposite for razors. Ladies' razors are just crap compared to those for men. Ford Motor Co. in the early 1920s produced a lot of lumber scraps and waste at their factories. So much, they decided to burn it and resell it as charcoal. This is now Kingsford charcoal. Another cool thing about Ford was that he was sick to death of money grubbing shareholders who didn't care about anything but profits. So he put his son in charge of the company and had his newspapers print that he was starting a new car company that would compete with Ford. Not only was everyone worried his son couldn't handle the company, now his son would be competing against Ford himself. Ford did this to devalue his company so he could buy it from the shareholders on the cheap and have complete control. Would this be illegal today? There are 3 major aluminum can manufacturers competing in the US to find out who made your can. Look for a small logo that will be placed near the barcode in most instances. Bull is easily the biggest, and their quality shows as well. If you have a can near you now, it's probably an 80% chance that it was made by Bull. Quality is as expected, generally good, but you can tell their goal is volume. Necks aren't clean and straight in most cases, but the printing is top notch. You will see some dents at the base, but not a huge amount. Next up in volume is going to be Rexam. In the industry they are considered a short bus. If you get fired from another competitor, you'll probably end up at Rexam. This shows in quality. The thickness is inconsistent, the printing is mediocre, and the necks almost always have a bunch of marks on them. Dents are commonplace all over, but look at the edge of the top neck and the bottom edge. Huge volume because they are cheap. Next in volume, in the US mainly, is going to be little known MCC. This stands for Metal Container Corporation, which is actually owned by Anheuser-Busch InBev. Basically they produce enough so that they can control prices a bit when they buy from Bull. The quality here is impressive. The necks are clean and generally a bit sharper than anyone else. Dents are reduced to almost nil. If you see many, it's likely from the filling/packing process. Does anyone actually give a crap? Not really. The Coke can on my desk is Rexam, and somehow that made me feel like a loser just for drinking it. I have a Bull Coke can. I must be better than you. Loser. The samples of cleaning products are much more potent than the stuff you buy. My dad's company makes the spray bottles they use. They send samples to test the sprayers because the over-the-counter versions are more watered down. If you send them an email saying you like their products, they will often send you samples in the mail. If you watered it down yourself, how much would you need to make a full bottle? The Hitachi Magic Wand is sold as a personal massager. That's kinda right. Funny story. This happened when I was about 8. My parents used to have 2 massagers in their room. One was for massaging, and one was, what I now know to be, a magic wand. I was using the magic wand on my back, and my dad came in and yelled on Jimino, and then drop kicked me. I was obviously pretty traumatized, and he didn't want to have a talk with me yet, and so he bought me a bunch of crap. I'm 19 now, and I asked him if he remembered when he drop kicked me, and he started cracking up. I didn't read your username, and I thought your dad just had the funniest exclamation ever. On Jimima, Majority of so-called brand ice cream you buy at the grocery store is not ice cream but rather frozen dessert, meaning it is derived from vegetable oil and not milk, with the fat. Clarification: many perceived products that many think are ice cream are not. Example, Breyers and Nestle often sell frozen dessert products in place of ice cream products. This does not mean these companies don't produce ice cream, but that it is not all real. Lao, I went to the McDonald's over in Shelbyville the other day. Chief Wiggum, the McWhat? Lao, yeah, I never heard of it either, but they say they have over 2,000 locations in this state alone. Eddie, HMM. Must have sprung up overnight. Lao, but you know, it's the little differences. Chief Wiggum, example. Lao, well, at a McDonald's you can get a crusty burger with cheese, but they don't call it a crusty burger with cheese. Chief Wiggum, get out. What do they call it? Lao, a quarter pounder with cheese. Chief Wiggum, quarter pounder with cheese? Well, I can see the cheese, but do they have crusties partially gelatinated non-dairy, gum-based beverages? Lao, yeah, they call them shakes. Eddie, huh, shakes. You don't know what you're jetting. Ha, that went over my head as a kid, but now I realize it's a Pulp Fiction reference. Gorilla Glass was developed in the 60s and no one had any idea what to do with it until we actually started using smartphones that need it. They're selling it to us as a cutting edge product, but really it's 50 years old. My family is from Corning, New York, where the Corning Glass Works makes Gorilla Glass. Because that was the job to have in town, most of my family worked there at one time or another. My great grandmother was displaying the awesomeness of Gorilla Glass to her neighbors back in the 60s. She threw down a dinner plate in the street. Several times actually, without it ever chipping / breaking / cracking. Then one day she threw it down. It hit a rock in the street and it chipped a tiny piece from the edge of the dinner plate. She took it to the glass works and they replaced it immediately. All Corningware was like this. Look at the bottom of your plates. Some of their stuff was indestructible. She used to tell me, if it's a Corning, it's for life. Well, it used to be, sign of the times they were bought out and now all of their products are crappy knockoffs and they won't honor anything beyond a 1-year warranty. They weren't really bought out. They sold off all of their consumer business back in the late 90s, but still hold a small stake in it. The new company, believe it's World Kitchen, replaced the original formula with a cheaper, but less durable one. Hence the reason there is a 4-5 year span that sucked. Supposed World Kitchen relaunched it in 2009, but it's still inferior to the older products. Cinnamon candles are usually just the leftovers of all of the other candle scents / waxes mixed together. Then they add the cinnamon oil for the smell. It's so strong that it covers up every other smell. That doesn't sound right, but I don't know enough about candles to dispute it. This doesn't sound right, and unlike most topics on Reddit, I actually do know a decent amount about this subject. I work as a salesman for a petroleum wax company. Literally all we sell is petroleum wax, and as a result, I walk through almost every major candle company's facility at least a couple times per year. Regarding the leftover candle wax, we buy back a good portion of their scrap candle wax and sell it into industries who buy wax, but do not care about scent or color. Blending the scraps of mixed colors together results in a rich shade of brown, that no one would ever want in a cinnamon candle. We buy it at pennies on the dollar, which tells me they have no use for it. I'm less of an expert on their scent oil, but it wouldn't really make sense that there would be an abundance of leftover scent oils that a candle company would be looking to scrap. They don't go bad, and they only get used at around a 1:20 ratio, so a gallon of scent makes over 200 12-ounce jars. Scent oils are super expensive, so I'm guessing they would just put them back on the shelf for later use, unless it was a retired scent. I can say all of these candle factories have the same smell, which comes from the Mod Podge of scents, and the end result is just a generally sweet aroma that I would liken to Smarties. If for some reason they did have fragrance to scrap, blending it off into cinnamon is conceivable. I just don't see why they would have sensed they were looking to scrap. That being said, I can't help but ask myself, who would make up something so specific? Have you seen this done up? The reason Q-tips say, don't put these in your ear, is because using them is pretty bad for your ears. First, you can puncture your eardrums with them, which often takes surgery to fix, and hurts like a birch bish. Second, if you manage to safely remove all the earwax, it puts you at a higher risk for ear infections. The wax is there for a reason. Third, you're gonna be addicted for life. Can confirm. I'm lumberjack. Birch is full. Man is kill. Good tree words. Help. Lego bricks are a ripoff of the little known Kiddicraft self-locking blocks. Kiddicraft blocks were produced 10 years before Lego. Lego copied it from a sample given to them by the British supplier and started making Lego bricks. The Kiddicraft founder Harry Page died in 1957 without ever knowing about it. In 1981, Lego acquired Kiddicraft so that they can successfully sue Tyco. Okay, I followed that until you got to the part about Lego acquiring Kiddicraft so they can sue Tyco. Where does Tyco fit into this story? Seriously, the first time you ever mentioned it was in the last word. How am I supposed to follow that? You're right, I just wanted to keep my post short. Basically, they sued another brick maker Tyco in late 80s citing copyright infringement. They had bought Kiddicraft earlier to make their claim stronger. The court however decided against Lego, saying Lego bricks are not patentable. Budweiser ages their drink on beechwood and tries to make sure you know that their drink is the only one aged on beechwood. Beechwood has one of the lowest levels of resin out there, and what little there is boiled out of it as much as possible. It's added to their lagering tanks to increase the surface area on which the yeast lands as it separates from the drink after primary fermentation is complete and aging begins. During aging, drink yeast absorbs the esters, flavor compounds, released by the yeast during primary fermentation as it converts, removing flavors from the drink. By increasing the surface area on which the yeast contacts the drink, Budweiser maximizes the degree to which they're golden. Such are flavorless Basswater, since the drink derives little flavor from the Pilsner malt and rice used to provide fermentable sugars, and the neutral hops used in its creation are very low in the alpha acids that give hoppy bitterness and aromas. TL. Doctor, everyone else who wood ages a drink does so to impart flavor. Budweiser does it to remove flavor, but being flavorless is better because it's a simple, clean, fresh, crisp, hard-working taste made by real men. It's not brewed to fuss over, and you're fussing over it. That commercial was so comically off the mark. They might as well have said this drink is for people who don't like the taste of drink. Hope this doesn't get buried, because it's a lifesaver if you have pets that shed. Using those cheap latex gloves you can buy just about anywhere are a cheap and incredibly effective way of pulling out pet hair. You simply put on the glove and rub your gloved hand in circles over whatever surfaces, couch, carpet, pillows, that have unwanted pet hair. It pulls it up in a convenient to throw away ball. It's a million times better than using a vacuum. I have an Aussie that sheds like a maniac, and I break out when there's too much pet hair floating about. This has seriously done wonders for me. Foolproof way to clean up pet hair. 1. Put on as much black clothing you can. 2. Get ready to go to something important, interview, concert, etc. 3. Walk around your house and avoid all furniture. This will pick up an inordinate amount of pet hair. I may be the only one who finds this extremely interesting, but it's about how t-shirts are made. So, ever notice how most of your t-shirts don't have side seams? That's because the body of the shirt is knitted as a tube in the round. This is the fastest way to produce knit fabrics, because no stops are necessary. The machine keeps rotating while the fabric is pulled down. There are 2,000 needles all working at once, and if you have 50 packages of yarn attached to the machine, you're knitting 50 rows every time the machine rotates. Imagine that each new row is staggered slightly behind the row below, which it does multiple times a minute. Now you know why t-shirts are so cheap. But the machine size is fixed. You can't make the circle larger or smaller. So do they have different sizes of machines to correlate with different sizes of t-shirts? Nope. That would be a waste of money for the company because the machines themselves are so expensive. So instead, they alter the tightness of the yarn being threaded into the machine. If the yarn is tighter, the tube of fabric will constrict when it exits the machine, resulting in a smaller tube. Small sizes. If the yarn is loose, the fabric will not constrict so much, resulting in a larger tube. Large sizes. This means that small size shirts are more tightly knit and have a higher cover, kind related to thickness. How much can you see through the fabric? While larger sizes are looser and have less cover. Fabric cover doesn't translate directly into product quality. There's many other factors, but it is considered you don't want a see-through shirt. And that's the dirty secret behind your t-shirts. Smaller sizes equal slightly better quality.